Hey, welcome to Home Video Hangouts. I'm Cody, and today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the physical media releasing this week. Most of these titles I'm sharing with you today will be releasing on July 23rd. So I'm going to be including links to all of these on Amazon in the description down below if you want to pre order them and pick them up yourself right when they come out. I'll also be sharing if I've seen some of these films and what my thoughts are on them and which ones I recommend. But let's dive in and discuss what's coming out this week. So, first of all, here we have the film The Lady from Shanghai. Now, this is a film I haven't seen myself yet. It's a 4K title, it's also available on DVD, and this is a film noir title. So, I can't say I'm super familiar with it, but I've heard it's a good film. It's reviewed high, a lot of people like it. So, I don't typically watch this type of film myself, but if you're into that genre, this could be a good one to pick up. Moving on, we have the film Underground Aces, another one that I'm not super familiar with. It seems like it has a little bit of a romantic comedy vibe to it. And so I'll have to look into this one a little bit further, but this one is also releasing July 23rd. This one's 1859 on Blu ray. And this one, I believe, has been around for a long time. Doesn't have the highest reviews, but this one has been around for quite a while. So if it's a film you're a fan of, this could be cool to have it on Blu ray. This one right here is part of the Criterion Collection. So this is Farewell, My Concubine. This is another one I haven't seen. I'm not very familiar with, but $34.99 for a pre-order of a Criterion Collection film is not too bad. So if you really like going after the Criterion Collection films, definitely look into this one. This will be releasing on July 23rd as well. And this one doesn't really have too many reviews I've seen or anything like that, but definitely, if you're into this one isn't in Chinese. Check that one out. Then here's a film I have seen. So Fall Guy is going to be releasing on physical media on July 23rd. The 4K is $29.96. Not terrible for a brand new 4K release. This is the extended cut I'm showing you right here. And I saw this film in the theater in IMAX. And I will say this is a very good, well-made film. I was really impressed with the stunts and the action and the visual effects in it. And the story wasn't bad either. I mean, it was a little bit of a longer film and there were some slow parts in it, but I will say this was an enjoyable movie. I'll probably be in the minority in saying that I'm not a huge fan of a lot of Ryan Gosling films. There are some good ones, but I think this is one of the better ones I've seen from him. And so, if you haven't had a chance to see Fall Guy yet, I do recommend checking it out if you like action films, as this was a pretty unique one. So, I would recommend picking this one up if you can. Next, we have Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3. This is an animated film, and this is one I'm not familiar with either. I don't really watch these types of animated films, but I've been hearing about this one releasing for a while for $32.99. That'll be out on July 23rd as well. So if you're into kind of these superhero animated films, you might want to check that one out, or if you've seen the other parts to this, probably be exciting to get Part 3. Then here we have Halo Season 2, and this is a 4K steelbook. Now, with this one, I will say this is a pretty cool looking steelbook. I like that picture of the Master Chief there. And I did watch the first season of the Halo series, and I'll say that first season, it was okay. I'm a big fan of the Halo video game, so I was excited for it. And there were some really cool action sequences in season one, but it didn't quite grab me enough to where I really wanted to watch season two. But if you are following it, this does look like a really cool physical media release. And so might be worth checking out if you're a fan of this series and you want to continue with it. But personally, it's probably not one I'll be picking up. Next, we have the film Arcadian with Nicolas Cage. So you can see on my channel, I actually did a review of this film right after it came out when I saw it in the theater. And this one surprised me a little bit. It was not a bad kind of action horror thriller film with Nicolas Cage, and I think it's one of the better movies he's come out with recently. It wasn't phenomenal, but it's very similar to the film that came out called It Comes at Night. It reminded me a lot of that one, but maybe a little bit better executed even. So if you haven't seen this one yet, I do recommend it. You know, maybe if you want to rent it first, that would make sense, versus just going right in and buying the Blu-ray right away. But it is cool they're getting a Blu-ray release for this one. Too bad there's not a 4K so far, but it really wasn't a bad film. I think out of what Nicolas Cage has been in recently, this is probably one of the better ones. Next, we have The Strangers Chapter 1. So, I'm a big fan of slasher films and the whole Strangers series, and this was surprisingly a good addition to the series. It kind of acts as a prequel in some ways, but it's not really closely tied to the other film stories. But I did enjoy this one when I saw it in the theater, and I do recommend seeing it. If you like any kind of horror films or slasher films, I think you'll enjoy this one too. Here, this one's available on both Blu ray and 4K. So the 4K is 3112 to pre-order. These will be releasing on July 23rd. And it looks like they have some cool covers and packaging on them too. Now here we have an older film that's being released on a higher format, I believe. So The Confessions of a Serial Killer Director's Cut coming out on Blu-ray. I've heard great things about this. I haven't seen it personally, but might be something I need to check out because it sounds pretty cool. So if you're into that type of film, this will be out on the 23rd as well for $26.98 on Blu-ray. Then this film is another one I haven't seen, but I read a little bit about it. It looks pretty interesting, kind of like an inspiring, inspirational film. And so this one features Robert De Niro. It's called Ezra. It's coming out on Blu-ray on July 23rd. And this one is essentially this kind of inspirational story about a father and his son having autism, and so I'll have to look at the trailer for this one, probably give it a watch pretty soon. But if you're into those kind of family friendly, family oriented, inspirational films, you might like this one. And then next we have Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse story. I wanted to see this one in the theater, but just never got a chance to. So I'm sure this will be a great Blu-ray release and a great film. I've heard nothing but good things about it. So this will release on Blu-ray on July 23rd as well, and could be a great one to have in your collection if you enjoy these biopics. Then we have another horror film. This is The Runes. Now, I looked at this one. It seems very familiar. Like I've seen something like this before. So I don't know if this is just similar to another movie I've seen, or if this is an actual remake or just a release on a higher format. But this film does look pretty interesting for the premise. So this one is kind of like a horror thriller. And this one is coming out for 1998 on Blu-ray on July 23rd, and it looks like there's a DVD copy as well, which is already out. So I do think this did have an earlier release. Let me see here. Yeah, this did come out in 2017, so they're just doing a Blu-ray release now, which is cool. Not sure if I've actually seen it before because it does look familiar, but I'll have to give that one a watch again. Anyway, then this one I was excited about too. We have Jackie Chan's The Tuxedo. This was a fun movie to watch. I watched years ago, and it's just now getting a Blu-ray release, which is great because I think it really does deserve a higher format release. That'll be out on the 23rd for 1998, and just a very fun movie that I'd highly recommend. Next, we have The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. This one's been around for a little while, and it's been considered a great film. I think it may have even won some awards, but this one's being released on Blu-ray for the first time. I'm honestly really surprised that it's just now getting a Blu-ray release. I would think this one would have originally come out on Blu-ray, or just had a Blu-ray release a long time ago. Just really surprised to see that it took this long for this to be out on Blu-ray, but it is a great film. I would definitely recommend it, even though it's a little bit sad. I would check it out. Now, the other thing here is we have a lot of Jaws releases this week. So we already had, the original Jaws on 4K and Jaws 2, I believe, but now we're getting all the other Jaws films all on 4K this week, and there's a great collection you could pick up as well. But first of all, here is Jaws 3 on 4K for $29.49. That'll be released on the 23rd. And these have some great packaging. I'm hoping that the actual 4K discs and releases are good as well. We'll see how they are. But we also have Jaws: The Revenge on a steelbook, a limited edition steelbook that's coming out for $39.15 on the 23rd. We also have the regular copy of Jaws: The Revenge for $29.49 coming out on the 23rd. Then we have the Jaws 3 movie collection, which has Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and Jaws the Revenge. It doesn't have the first one, but it does have these other three. So that could be a pretty cool collection to have. I will say this is very expensive at $73.99. I'm sure you could kind of wait and get a better deal on that versus pre-ordering it. But eventually this would be the great thing to pick up used, I bet. If you wanted to get it right away too, one way to get it is just pre-order it and have it day one. You'd still be paying probably around close to $25 a film, but for 4K, getting it right away for a great series like that could be reasonable too. So then we have Jaws 3 limited edition steelbook here. That's $39.96. You want to have that special steelbook. I will say that's a pretty cool design. I like that. And then lastly, we have Risky Business from the Criterion Collection. So classic Tom Cruise movie here for $34.99 back when he was super young. And this one I think this may have a steelbook release as well. I'll have to double check on that. But this is one where, again, I'm surprised we haven't seen a 4K release sooner, but it's awesome that Criterion picked this up and is doing a quality release. So those are the films I wanted to highlight that are coming out this week. There are a few other random films that are coming out, like anime and stuff like that. I didn't want to cover every single one. I just want to highlight the ones that I was familiar with or I thought my audience here on YouTube would be most interested in. But again, in the description down below, you'll see links to all of these on Amazon where you can pre-order them. And how it works with pre-order on Amazon is if the price drops on these before the release date, your price that you're paying will automatically be adjusted lower by the release date, which is cool. And I think Amazon's a great place to pre-order films like this too, because sometimes they'll actually ship them out even before the release date. And I've heard of people getting these films even earlier than a release date in some cases by pre-ordering on Amazon. So check those out in the description below. Ordering through my links does help support the channel and help me to keep these videos coming for you. And you can keep an eye on the channel and subscribe as well, because I'm going to start sharing with you every physical media release every week starting this week. Every Monday, you're going to see a video like this where I'm sharing what's about to come out, what I'm excited for, and sharing my thoughts on the newest releases. So stay tuned for that. The videos I've been doing where I'm discussing the latest physical media sales and deals is going to be moving to Wednesdays now. So Mondays, you'll be hearing about new releases. Wednesdays, you'll be hearing about the latest sales. And then on Fridays, you'll likely be having more of a discussion video where you'll see me talking about physical media, home theaters, or stuff like that you've been used to. But I'm really excited for these upcoming releases. I hope you can pick some of them up. And again, if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And I'll see you next time on Home Video Hangouts. Thanks for watching.